learned more about it just from Dave telling you right now than I knew before. Again, he tricked me a little bit, I think.
So you realize you're riding over 20K in deep snow to meet the devil, possibly.
Yeah.
You're good with that.
Well, she's good with that, yeah.
I'm good with that. With that.
And one of the things that people should understand, maybe that'll follow this event a little bit more, is the 32-kilometer nighttime event, per se, that we're doing up at Big Eddy Lodge, where we are being hosted, is being conducted on groomed fat bike trail that used to be dog sled trail that Solomon Carrier and his family used to raise and race up there. So there shouldn't be any deep snow, but if there is, that's just Jen falling off the trail again.
So before I let you go, I'm going to ask each of you, and I'm going to start with you, Jen, what are you hoping to get out of this experience?
Well, just the experience of being out on the land in the dark by myself on my bike, and it'll be a real sense of accomplishment to be able to complete not just the event, the Hooved Men event, but the whole weekend and building my community of cyclists as well.
That sounds good. And what about you, Dave?
I first attended this experience, I think is the most appropriate term, last winter. And when I came away from it last year, my immediate reaction was, I need to bring more people here to experience, not only, as Jen mentioned, what this experience is like on the land, but what it feels like to be hosted by this remarkable family. And also the digital detox that takes place. We are without Wi-Fi, without cell phone coverage for, 2 days. And guess what happens when you can't pick up your phone? You're forced to engage with other humans.
It sounds like a wonderful adventure. And don't be fooled. Those little tracks in the snow, are they deer or are they the Hooved Man?
That's exactly right.
Well, have a wonderful time. And thanks very much for taking a few minutes before your first ride. Thanks. Bye now.
Bye.
Jennifer Keith and Dave Tournier are taking part in the Escape the Hooved Man race. Right now, they're riding in Squirrel Hills, and if you'd like to know more about their adventure, you can go to the Fat Bikes Manitoba Facebook page. You're listening to Radio Noon. It is 23 minutes after 12 o'clock. Well, as winter continues to drag on through the latter half of February, many Canadians might find themselves dreaming of a sunny vacation in a warmer climate. And for those who can't go or don't want to, they can always live vicariously through those who post pictures of their travels on social media. That got CBC's Blair Sanderson wondering if people appreciate seeing others having warm, wonderful fun while they're stuck in the snow. He hit the streets to find out.
Hello.
Hello.
Do you dream of escaping the winter weather to go to a sunny spot down south?
Yeah.
All of the time.
Every day.
Like, every day.
Yeah, definitely. When I'm sitting in the cold and it's freezing outside, all I want to be is on a nice warm beach with a drink in my hand.
And is this a possibility in your life to be doing something like that?
Oh, absolutely not. I have to pay rent.
I envy other people who do it because I am really bad at saving money. And everything is costing more and more, so I'm stuck here.
What is your reaction then to people who post about their amazing lives down south?
I think it's just they're trying to poke the bear and say, look what I'm doing. You're shoveling your driveway today.
Oh, it's just hard to look at. Not really, but in like just a first kind of reaction is there's rage there.
I mean, good for them. I'm so happy for them. So happy that they get to do that.
It feels like you're almost fighting off tears.
It's the wind, I promise.
Yeah, jealous for sure. I mean, I'm happy for them, but I also know social media, you only show what the good spots of your life. So I'm happy for them, and I mean, I've had awesome opportunities in the past too, and just try to focus on myself. But yeah, I'm super jealous of them enjoying their beers and stuff on the beach down south.
But you also think to yourself, they're only posting the positives in their life. And it could be that there's lots of negative stuff going on that I don't know about.
100%, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and you really try to keep that in your mind as you're looking at those photos.
Yeah, it's really hard sometimes, but yes, that's what I try to think of.
Positive. I'm glad other people are having fun.
You're just nothing but enthusiastic for other people's joy.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I'm not a very jealous person, so yeah, as long as they're having a good time.
I love it, because then I just imagine myself there.
Is that right?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm not jealous. Like, I love it. I think it's great that they can do it. I wish I could, but I can't. So I
what's that word? Vicariously live through their experiences.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely cool to get, ideas of places to go, because I really, being someone that doesn't really seek that out, if I ever was planning a trip like that, I'd have very little to go off of. So seeing all these people post gives me an idea of maybe what I would be looking for if I ever did that.
So it's informative for you?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, absolutely not.
Is there a dislike button?
It depends. If I don't like you, I don't like seeing you happy. But if you're my friend, I want to see all the details.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
If you went down south, would you post pictures of yourself?
Absolutely. Yes, then everything changes.
Okay, this has been insightful. Good. Thank you very much.
Anytime.
Enjoy the winter, you guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
That was CBC's Blair Sanderson talking to people about how they react to other people's vacation pictures. And he has some tips for you here. If you're planning on posting yourself, keep in mind that this advice comes from crime prevention experts. Wait until you get home to post so you're not alerting possible burglars that you're away. And also, as they say, they're all the pictures of all the good moments. As soon as they get home, they'll tell you how they had food poisoning, they were delayed for 24 hours and poured away at an airport, and, a dog bit them and so on. So, take it with a grain of salt. You're listening to Radio Noon. We've got time for a tune here. The 2025 Juno Award nominations are out, and a number of Manitobans are on the list. Local country artist Boy Golden is one of the first-timers. He received a nomination for a sophomore album For Eden, which is in the running for Contemporary Roots Album of the Year. Boy Golden now with Burn.
I'm packing on my bags. I'm telling all my friends. Moving on to a better place, somewhere we've never been. In my dreams it's a big old bus, and it's all packed up with guitars and such. We all got enough to roll one up. When we get on stage, we burn the place down. Burn the place down. Burn the place down. Burn the place down. My lover by my side, my best friend playing slide. We hit the last number right. Got up in the morning for a red-eye flight. No time to waste, no time, no chase, no. When we get on stage, we burn the place down. Burn the place down. We burn the place down.
That's Boy Golden with Burn. You're listening to Radio Noon, and after the news, give us a call. We are talking about junk and gems. What do you have? What do you wish you didn't have anymore? What do you wish you had more of? Give us a call about things that you've been hanging on to for a good reason or no good reason. We want to hear your stories. 204-780-0893. Mike Hewen, collectibles expert, will be with us, and we hope you will be too. The news is next.
This is CBC News. Good afternoon, I'm Josh Crabb in Winnipeg. At 12:30, it's mainly sunny and minus 12 downtown, minus 7 in Dauphin, and minus 16 in Churchill. Mama Wichita and Harvest Manitoba are coming together to tackle food insecurity in Winnipeg's inner city. Today, it announced the creation of Ashisaken in the 500 block of Notre Dame Avenue Tammy Christensen is the executive director of Momaway. She says during the pandemic, they handed out 300 hampers daily to families in need. Christensen says when the funding for that program ended, they got together with Harvest Manitoba to find ways to help. She says once completed, it will have a free community grocery store for clients and other supports.
And so this community hub will provide not only that community grocery store, but all the resources to help support those families. So the idea is that they'll come in, they'll connect with our intake workers, and we'll learn a lot about who they are, what their families' needs are, and we'll have a range of programming and resources.
The federal government is giving just over $1 million to ensure the building is accessible. It's expected to open in 2026. A new study is suggesting a Canadian high-speed rail line would generate billions of dollars in economic benefits. The study from the C.D. Howe Institute says the proposed line between Toronto and Quebec City would generate between $15 and $27 billion in revenue over a 50-year span. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced this week the government is moving ahead with a plan to develop the high-speed rail corridor, but it's still in the planning phase, with any construction at least 5 years away. And finally, Canada's hockey team won big last night, but the other team, Canada, is still trying to score on the diplomatic front. Two premiers are in Washington for meetings with U.S. governors, hoping to convince them to push back on Trump's tariff plans. Cameron McIntosh has more.
Man, am I happy the Canadians won last night.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford breathing a sigh of relief over Canada's win over the U.S., while lobbying in Washington at a meeting of U.S. governors, trying to convince them tariffs are a bad idea.
Hopefully this won't happen. And the message down here is a tariff on Canada is a tax on Americans.
Ford is here with Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston. Together, they're meeting with governors, both Republican and Democrat.
The success is just getting people to listen and engage in dialogue.
The hope, says Ford, convince enough people to convince President Trump.
I'm very confident.
Last week, all 13 premiers were in D.C. with a similar message. But President Trump is still threatening to impose a 25% tariff on all Canadian imports on March 4th. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Washington.
And that is CBC News from Winnipeg. Your next local news is at 1:30.
Thanks a lot, Josh. And hey, Josh, before you go, on our call-in today, we're asking people what do they have crammed in their junk drawers and their closets and down in their basements that they just can't part with or don't know what to do with. Have you got anything like that?
Kind of, yeah. I did this I did a purge a while ago, but I've sort of acquired a bunch of outdoor stuff. And so I really need to go through that. Just generally, there's just like a lot of bikes and, there's a canoe in my apartment right now. I don't want to get rid of that stuff, but I just need to find something better to do with it, I guess. So I can definitely relate. I need to do a clean, another purge for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to get rid of that stuff. You might need it someday.
Totally.
Even though, maybe wooden skis aren't that useful anymore.
I know. I guess you could hang them on the wall or something.
Or use them for salad forks. Who knows?
Totally.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Josh. I'm going to ask Riley as well.
Okay.
CBC weather specialist Riley Lachuk is here to tell us about the weather. But Riley, do you have things that you're hanging on to, granny something or your parents?
I do
whatever?
have, I call it this like porcelain Ukrainian turkey thing from my grandma.
Is it a turkey or a thing you put a turkey in or?
It's,
it's,
I don't even know how to describe it. It's some knickknack.
Oh, it's a knickknack.
Yeah.
The size of a turkey?
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's actually collecting coins.
It is.
It's my coin collector at the moment.
Well, if it ever gets full, you're going to be rich.
Other than that, I'm very minimalist.
Are you? Yes.
I continually purge things.
Well,
I'm kind of bad for that sometimes.
If you've got turkey-sized tchotchkes, you don't have a lot of room for everything else.
Minus 12 in Winnipeg right now. Compared to the temperatures that we saw earlier in the weekend last weekend, you might be fooled into spring cleaning this weekend with the temperatures that we're experiencing.
Never.
Close.
Yeah. Okay.
Minus 13 in Brandon. Dolphins minus 7 at the moment. We are seeing a little bit of cloud start to make its way into Manitoba. I know that we did see a little bit of cloud. We've been under mainly sunny skies here in the Red River Valley. A bit of cloud to our south, but there's a little bit more substantial cloud deck moving in from our west right now. So do expect that by the time we get to the late afternoon into the evening, that will actually be clouded over for the most part. Mostly cloudy skies into the weekend, some sunny breaks, maybe a few scattered flurries out of some of that cloud cover, particularly as we get later Saturday into Sunday, I am watching an area of low pressure. I've been talking about this for a few days now, an Alberta clipper that's moving across the northern prairies. For the most part, this will just skirt across central and northern Manitoba. However, into Sunday, I think there is a chance that we could see really across southern Manitoba, Trans-Canada Highway northward, maybe a few showers, maybe a couple flurries into the afternoon hours, Sunday into the evening. Not really talking about any accumulation. I actually wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see anything here in Winnipeg, but certainly the chances are that we could see a couple of showers from this as we get later into Sunday. Looking at a high of -7 in Winnipeg today, -6 for most of the rest of southern Manitoba, Verdun -4, Dauphin -2 later this afternoon. Looking at -2 for Winnipeg tomorrow, +3s for Sunday, Monday, +2 for Tuesday, 0 for Wednesday. The entire 7-day forecast, almost all of it actually above 0 at this point.
So you're pretty much guaranteeing it's now spring. Is that
Well,
correct?
I wouldn't quite say that, but
That's because you're a professional, Riley, with a turkey-sized tchotchke.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Have a great weekend.
You too. That's weather specialist Riley Lachuk, and you can hear him this afternoon on Up to Speed, as well as you can see him on CBC Television News at 6. And now I welcome to the studio an old friend, Mike Hewen, a longtime proprietor of Mike's General Store. And even though Riley said you might be fooled into spring cleaning, it, might be a bit early, he was saying, but it might be time for everybody to face the overabundance of stuff that we all tend to get. And if your closets are stuffed with clothing you never wear, or you're overwhelmed by too many family heirlooms, maybe you have custody of all your kids' stuff, you're not alone. People save items for so many reasons, often over decades, and that's why decluttering, as Josh was saying, can be tough. I mean, you might need 6 or 7 canoes in your basement. Who can say? and especially when you're trying to sort out the junk from the gems. And actually, that was a show that was on just last week that Antonia Reed put on about called Junk and Gems and how to distinguish between them. And we're kind of riding on her coattails with that. So we want to know, what object or item have you held on to for a long time, whether it's junk or whether it's a gem, and what's the story behind it? And how did you get rid of your stuff? We're looking for your stories and your solutions. And Mike Hewen is here. He has expert advice on what you might be hanging on to. Give us a call, 204-780-0893, or you can text us 204-588-7355. We're talking junk and gems, how you got them and how you get rid of them. Hi, Mike.
Hello there.
Nice to see you again.
Pleasure to be here.
Well, now, you've brought something with you. Let's start off with what you've got there. Is that junk or is that a
Well,
gem?
you know what? I mean, two things that go back for me for a long time is my Hot Wheels case full of my Hot Wheels when I was a kid. 1968, they came out. I was 10 years old. I mean, they were the coolest thing ever. Since then I've collected many more, but it's the original ones in the original case that means something to me. And there's a bottle of Farrah Fawcett shampoo and cream rinse. And you're wondering, why did I bring that in?
Yeah,
the only
why did
other
you?
job I ever had was I worked at Dominion grocery stores.
Yeah.
And while I was stocking the shelves, I saw these. I thought, geez, if that was Marilyn Monroe, that'd be pretty cool. I think I'd take them home, use them, and keep them. So I've had those for like 50 years. Yeah. They sit in my washroom. They're already fading and everything, but it means something to me.
Are they full or empty?
No, they're empty.
Oh, they're empty.
I use them. That's why, can't you tell I got curls?
Of course, you've got that lovely glossy curl to your hair. And Farrah is looking pretty good.
Oh, always. So,
Yeah.
that was every teenage boy's crush back in the day, and I was a
Farrah
teenage
Fawcett.
boy today. The other two things I brought is something that's that I can't get rid of because they're memories of friends/customers of mine.
Oh?
And one is a little small sign. I don't know where the cameras are here. There's probably one
No.
right in front of me.
Probably.
It's a little enamel sign.
Yeah.
And my friend Brian, who passed away, I was over at his apartment, and this would have been about 25 years ago. And his brother told me, because they're British, and they always went back to London, he says back in the mid-'60s, this was a tube station sign.
Mm-hmm.
And he took a Canadian dime out, and he unscrewed it from the wall and stuck it in his pocket. I thought, there's my memory. Every time I see it, I think of Brian.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a wonderful little piece. It just, so to me, it has a story of a friend.
Right.
Sadly, when I'm gone, the story will disappear because, it just becomes an object at that point.
That's right.
So many, when I looked around my house the other day at stuff to bring, everything I have that I don't want to get rid of
Yeah.
is large.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Really large.
Carrying a giant, 3-foot-high nipper dog or something would be
Mhm.
kind of silly. But and then the other thing I got, which actually I got fairly recently, this is from one of my closest friends who passed away this year.
Hmm.
It's a monkey in a dress,
Mhm.
and his widow phoned me up. She says, "You got to come over. It's Colin's favorite toy." And he wasn't even a collector. He just loved this thing. He says he would have loved you to have it. And when you turn it on, the little monkey dances, and then you can get him to do different things.
Claps.
He claps.
Oh, wow.
His ears go back and forth. His eyes pop out. He swings side to side.
It's about a foot tall? Makes a
Yeah,
noise?
it's probably
Yeah?
about 12 inches tall. So it's sort of like very typical 1950s battery operated toy.
Yeah.
Not the sort of thing you give to a kid because I think it scared the heck out of them.
Yeah, that's right. I was gonna say, it's a bit frightening. But
Yeah, but it's the sort of thing you'd probably find behind a bar back
Sure.
in the 50s, when everybody had that basement bar that you
Yeah.
go sit up and
Yeah.
drink at. So yeah, when you think of things you can't throw out or for me, get rid of or sell, I just look at things that have a memory or an attachment to them. One of my favorite things is in my washroom. It's like a 5-foot-high toothbrush. And it was so cute because a friend of mine who we put about 250,000 kilometers on traveling across the country, we were like the original pickers.
Mhm.
We're doing a show in Edmonton one day. We go to a friend's house. We're in the garage, look at stuff. I pick up this toothbrush. I says, "How much you want for this, Barry?" He goes, $30. My buddy says, "I'll take it." I said, "No, I'm buying it." And he bugged me all weekend. Don't sell the toothbrush. I take it home. I'm like a dog with a new bone.
Yeah.
And I show it to my wife. She goes, "Well, what are you going to do with that?" I said, "Put it in the washroom." "Well, maybe in the basement washroom." And then he bugged me for it. And finally, one day I broke down. He says, "Meet me at the Salisbury house and bring the toothbrush." She says, "Just give him the damn thing already." So I go there. We make a trade. When he passed away, I got the toothbrush back. I hung it up in my washroom. I put the little, the little thing I wrote up at his funeral behind it.
Aw.
And every time I go to the washroom, I think of him, and he would appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, that's nice, eh? Yeah.
So I think when people have a hard time throwing out stuff, it has a memory or a nostalgia to them that only they're the keeper of that.
Right.
And like I say, once I'm gone and my kids get rid of this little thing,
Mhm.
it just becomes another tube station sign
Yeah.
because the story disappears.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of the things that we have in our home, the giant turkey thing,
Yeah, exactly.
means something to him
Yep.
because of that.
And because it meant something to his grandmother.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and when Antonia Reed was doing her Junk and Gem show, one of the things that she talked about was how things that were sort of the badges of success, or that you'd made it in your job or something like that. Our grandparents used to hang on to, especially we're all immigrants or children of immigrants, and when you sort of established yourself, you bought the stereo or the car or the something. I remember, and I had it for many years. My granny had a mink stole.
Oh, I know.
And
that was a sign of success.
And it wasn't much of a mink stole. It was about 1/4 of an inch thick, and it came from Woodward's, but it meant so much to her.
When you went out at night or for dinner or
Yeah.
whatever, you dress up and you put the mink on and you felt like $1
Yeah,
million.
she really did. Even though
I get it.
so Granddad got that for her, and I inherited it, and I kept it for a really long time. And actually, I had another grandmother who also had a mink stole, and put them. And I didn't know what to do with them because not wearing a lot of mink stoles myself. But I had them made into a little lap robe, like had them sewed together, which was wonderful and very warm, and I really enjoyed it because they hated each other, and yet there were
brought
their
them
mink
together.
stoles
Even
brought
better.
together
I love that.
later in life. And we want to hear from you. What's your story of things you can't let go of because it has a memory, or maybe you think you'll have a use for it one day? Give us a call, 204-780-0893. Because we all have those things in drawers that we look at and we think, oh, I need to do something with that, or do I? 204-780-0893, or tell us how you managed to, keep only the things that spark joy. And Mike, tell me, in your business, how do you let people know the difference between an item of junk or a gem when they bring it into you?
As an antique collectibles dealer over the years, everything is a monetary value. And one of the things I learned, I praised for the Antiques Roadshow when it was in Canada. And one of the things they stress to us is the Tiffany vase and the chipped cup and saucer have the same sentimental value to the person that brings it in. So you remove the value. And generally speaking, when people came to the Antiques Roadshow, they're bringing in something that meant a lot to them. And you had to sift through the people and decide, does this have, is this camera worthy? Is there a story to tell? Do they have, even it may not have a great value, they have a great story to share. Or I have a great story to share. It's not always about the money. It's about what it means to that person. And one of the things, it reminds me of a story as we were chatting, is I remember being in a lady's basement about 20 years ago, and she had a silver tea set in the corner wrapped in saran wrap. And the saran wrap had been on so long it turned brown. And she says, what about my tea set? I said, well, I don't really buy those because they don't sell very well. She goes, oh, but you know what? It was so special. The women would come over in the afternoon and we'd bring out the tea set. It was a sign of success. And we would sit around and we'd drink our tea and cookies. And we felt so special. And with those words, all of a sudden, I realized what that tea set represented to that generation. And generally, it was the husband went to work. The women were at home. We're talking through the 50s and the 60s. They would get together. Instead of bringing a tray of Tim Hortons coffee, they would get out the silver tea set, and it was a sign of you're upper class all of a sudden. You felt,
right, it was a badge.
When she said we felt special, it finally dawned on me what I mean. I always looked at them as a piece of tea set that nobody wants.
No, it's not that simple, is it, Mike? Let's go to our phone lines. Hi, Marie.
Hello.
Hello. What have you been hanging on to there?
Well, my biggest problem is that I hang on to so much because every thing I have has a story.
Exactly.
And that's become a real problem now that I am 80 years old. It's become a problem to specifically a younger son who probably hangs on to so little. And I don't know how to begin. Firstly, I think we need a counselor to mediate between us.
Well, what I was saying earlier is, the pieces that you're talking about have a story to you. And once you're gone, the story disappears unless you've shared that with someone and somebody else wants to share the story. Then at that point, it just becomes an object of collectability or a used item or whatever it may be. But you're just like me.
And Marie, just before I go to our next caller, what's your favorite thing that you have?
Oh, it's hard to say because they're all favorites.
Aw.
And no, there would be, maybe a dozen that are very favorites.
Yeah.
But since I've also traveled since the 60s and have stories of every piece
Your
because
souvenirs,
I've also lived in different countries and made real connections where it's so difficult.
It's so difficult, that's for sure. Well, thank you very much, Marie. And I think, I think a lot of people would share your pain and your joy because you've got all those wonderful things. So we're going to move on to another caller, but thank you very much for your call. It was great to talk to you. Let's talk to Lexi. Hi, Lexi.
Hi.
Hi, what have you got hanging around?
Hello?
Hello, Lexi. Go ahead. What have you got?
So I have my grandma's magic sewing cabinet. She was a seamstress professionally. She sewed fur, actually.
Oh.
At Perth. And she taught me to sew. When she died, my mom and I argued over who would get this cabinet. It's a rickety old thing. I had to actually put a bunch of stuff under one leg to keep it from falling apart. I think my grandfather made it out of scrap wood. Yeah. But here's the thing: when my mom died, I did get it, and It is this completely magical cupboard. So whenever I'm crafting or sewing, I say to myself, oh, I wonder if she had a whatchamacallit that does the thingamajiggy, and I open the drawer, and there it is.
There it is.
And it's just this, it's so precious to me. Like, I actually show it off to people to say this, and every time I come across one of these remarkable finds, it's little, right? It's only, maybe 3 feet tall. Wow. I just, my Mennonite self that never throws anything away because,
never know when you might need it.
You never know.
Right. And it can't be wasteful.
Oh, good for you.
So I love this cabinet to death. And it's actually useful to me. It won't be useful to anybody after me, but it's useful to me.
Well, and the magic probably goes with you, Lexi. And why would you get rid of it? Thank you very much for calling. We have other people on the line, but that was a great story. Maybe give it a rub and you might get some wishes. Try that. And we're going to go to Judy now. Hi, Judy.
Hi there.
Hi, what have you got?
So I was saying that I've got all this embroidered stuff left by my grandmother and mother. They made it for my trousseau.
Oh.
No one used when I got married, and everything needs ironing and starching.
Right.
But
right.
in addition, I have an old picture, and it's put in one of those big oval frames with the curved
with the convex glass.
Yeah.
And it's a little girl, and she would have been my aunt, but she died at about 3 years old.
Oh.
Because she had tuberculosis that she caught.
Right.
From someone had given her milk from a cow.
Right.
That had TB.
Yeah.
So my mother always had it hanging up. My grandmother always had it hanging up. And God knows what I'm going to do with it. I can't throw it out, but I'm not living forever.
Well, you'll just have to keep it in the trunk with all the doilies.
Well, those picture frames, we sell them all the time. They generally sell between $50 and $75, depending on the condition. And most times the people take the pictures and keep them as a family heirloom. And maybe sometime, somewhere down the road, one of your kids or somebody will be looking at genealogy, and the picture will all of a sudden mean something and can be saved and preserved.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for that, Judy. And we're going to move on. Well, we've got a few callers and just a few more minutes left. Hi, Lindsay.
Hello.
Hello. What have you got?
I have a lot of my grandmother's furniture. I'm in my early 70s, and I have her treadle sewing machine. It's complete. Even I have all the drawers and the bobbins and everything.
Right.
I have a beautiful buffet and also a piano stool and another little table that they used to keep their radio on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of wondering what I'm going to do with it at some point because I don't know that anybody really wants it, but it's all in really lovely condition.
You know what? I mean, all those pieces sound wonderful, and they do have a nostalgia and a memory for you. As far as like the furniture market, I would say it's probably dropped in half or more in the last 15 years because the younger generation don't embrace antique furniture. Mm-hmm. Sadly, I don't get it, but
I don't either. Because you'll never see that. The wood is so beautiful.
Well, you know what? To build any one of those pieces today, and the construction and the quality of the workmanship and wood that you've got would cost a fortune.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I have kids, and where do they go? IKEA.
Yeah.
Last for 10 years, and they throw it out and buy another one.
But Lindsay, you're enjoying it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That's good.
And
yeah.
that's what
I have
matters.
a lot of memories too of my grandparents, and I live in a house that was built in 1927, so it fits right in.
It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Great.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're all in, or a lot of us, I include myself, we're in that boat as well. I say to her daughter when she comes to visit, shop the house, shop the house. And her house is like tiny and already full, so too bad. But thank you very much for your call. We're just going to try and squeeze in one more call. Hi, Natalie.
Hi.
Hi. What do you want to say?
Well, I've decided that one of the best gifts I can give my girls is to get rid of things so they don't have to deal with them. It's like this Swedish desk cleaning thing, but I'm not good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the easiest thing is to ask them if they'd want it,
exactly.
That sort of thing. But what I'm really looking for is a list of places in Winnipeg that I can donate things that are specific. So it's going to people who really need them, not just one, like it's clothes go one place, furniture goes one place,
You
like,
know what? That's easy
where?
enough to do. You just kind of look around. You type in either antique shops, secondhand stores, used clothing stores, charities, and then you choose what would best suit your purposes for getting rid of the things. I mean, one of the things that I do all the time is. At least twice a week, I'm called out to do appraisals for people. So I go to their homes, I go through their stuff, I say junk, treasure. At the end of it all, I says, well, was I worth the $100 I charged you or not? But, and usually I find a few treasures among the stuff. And then I give them pointers in which direction they could go with some stuff. I mean, there's auction houses, and if you want to do donations, I mean, there's a lot of really good charities in town. And you just choose the one that most suits, your beliefs.
So there's no just one website that I can go to, and
no.
if you want this, you go here.
No.
Make my life easier, please.
That would be easy, wouldn't it?
Although maybe if you got hold of a major thrift shop or something and talked to a person, they might say, well, if you've got furniture,
take it off.
These people take it and those people take it.
Yeah.
So kind of go to the source, I guess. Yeah.
It's the specifics, like the girls' dance outfits. I want to give it to people who can't afford dance outfits, that sort of thing,
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, something to think about. Thanks very much, Natalie. And with that, I think, Mike, we're pretty much going to have to wrap it up.
We're at the end.
Yeah, we're at the end.
That went so quick.
Yeah, I know. We're going to have to do this again because people have lots of things, to talk about. And it is an ongoing thing. You've got these beautiful things that nobody would ever make again. Some of the wood in antiques you can't even get anymore.
Without question.
But on the other hand, it's all about the memories. So as long as you keep the memories.
The one thing I say is we're all just caretakers in this world.
Very true.
And everything we own, somebody else is going to hopefully give it the same love and care that you gave it. And that's all we're doing is preserving it for the next generation.
Yeah, that's true. And then the next generation says, no thanks.
Well, my kids, they found a few things they like, but I'm sure the rest will all go to new caretakers.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for being with us and bringing in that scary monkey toy. That was startling. And Farah with her
beautiful hair. Look at that. Eh?
Yeah, look at Farah with her wave. It's just wonderful.
I was like 17 years old when I bought these. That's the part that killed me, that I actually had the foresight to think that, hey, maybe one day these will be collectible. And what are they worth now?
And actually, you were just in love with Farrah Fawcett, and that was your excuse to bring them home. Let's face it.
Exactly. I just wonder if this is...
Still smell nice?
Not nice.
Not nice. Well, on that nostalgic note, thanks very much,
Well, thank
Mike.
you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Collectibles expert Mike Hewen, who many Winnipeggers know, of course, from his many years at Mike's General Store. You're listening to Radio Noon. I'm Lori Hoogstraten, and I want to say thanks to everybody who helped put on the show. But first, I want to tell you what's coming up on Up to Speed. For over 25 years, Winnipeg punk band Comeback Kid has been gracing stages worldwide, and to celebrate the milestone of their 20th anniversary, they're doing a show of their album Awake the Dead in Winnipeg. They're going to be talking to them on Up to Speed. So thank you to May McKillop, Sierra Sanders, Wendy Parker, Kevin Nipatebo, and thanks again to you, Mike McEwen. I'm Lori Hoogstraten. I'm sure we'll talk again soon. Enjoy the lovely sunny day, going for a high of 7 degrees, and it's the weekend. Have a good time. Good to talk to you. Bye.